Hey everyone, welcome to the first episode of the Game Dev Game Show. I am your host, Zachavelli, and I'm joined today by YanniBoi. I just want to preface this first stream with this is our very first episode. This is episode 0. So there might be a few kinks in how the software works and all that. We did build all this from scratch. So if something weird happens, I don't know, you're just along for the ride in the first episode. Luckily, our guest today is one of the people who helped build it. So, Yan, are you ready to start the Game Dev Game Show?
Let's go.
All right. We lost your camera. Did we lose your camera? As soon as you said, let's go, we lost the camera.
Gone. I could totally prank you on this.
I see. All right. No more camera losing. As I said, episode 0. All right. For those who don't know, I do ask all the guests to pick a category preference. There are categories for the questions. Yan's category preference was the technical and audio categories. You can see we'll do the questions in groups of 5. Yan's first group of 5 is all technical and music questions. Let's get started. Question number 1. What is the name of the general software used to make video games?
Oh, thank God for this. It's a DAW, right?
Is it A, DAW, B, Game Engine, C, Mobile Kit, or D, pen and paper? While you think about that, Yan, I do want to bring up to the people in chat that you can play alongside. You can play alongside us by pressing exclamation A or B or whatever you think the answer might be. And chat's score gets tallied up at the end. Anyways, Yan, I don't want to take up too much of your time. Do you know the answer to this question, Yan?
I think I'm going to need a power up. No, I'm kidding. I think while you should use pen and paper to start writing out your ideas, I think the correct answer is a game engine.
Yan is answering B, as in game engine. Is that your final answer, Yan?
It is.
B, game engine was correct.
Ah, fantastic.
All right. You got past the very first question. That would have been embarrassing.
A bad choice of contestant. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Definitely your fault.
Yeah. Okay, I'm having a little trouble. That's okay. I'll just do it this way. All right, so we can see Yan got the first question right. Let's move on to the second question, which is an easy question from the music category. Question number 2. What does DAW stand for in an audio game dev context? Is it A, Delta Alpha Wave, B, Design Audio Workspace, C, Digital Audio Workstation, or D, Do Again Weekly?
I mean, I am quite glad I picked this as my category because I probably could have answered that one without the multiple choice.
You know what's funny? I almost read out what DAW means when I was reading the question just because I'm so used to it.
What does Digital Audio Workstation stand for?
So do you have an answer then, Yan?
I think I'm going to go with C, Digital Audio Workstation.
Yan's answer is C, Digital Audio Workstation. That is correct. We kind of knew that one already. The questions will get harder as we move along. And with that, let's move on to the next question, which will be a technical question. Question number 3. Which of these is not a game engine? Is it A, Unity, B, Godot, C, Unreal, or D, Photoshop?
Here I was thinking you would almost throw a curveball in there and list Blender. Blender technically isn't a game engine, but definitely can be used into making a game engine. Also, Minecraft would have been a good one for this category.
I've got no comment. Yeah.
No comment? All right. Well, Unity and Godot I've both used, so I'm very sure that they are game engines. Unreal, I am told, is a game engine. I have no evidence to support this, but I believe some fairly successful games were made in Unreal. So I'm going to go with D, Photoshop.
You're going to go with D, Photoshop.
That's it.
D, Photoshop is the correct answer. You know, I could almost see an argument. I bet there is someone out there who's like so good with Photoshop, like plugins and stuff, where you could turn it into a game engine. Do you think?
I mean, I don't use Photoshop, so I don't know. But, I mean, there's probably...
There's got to be someone out there.
I mean, the question is, can you make a game in Photoshop? Sure. Can you export it into something that is playable? Like, can you export a graphical file that can take input or be deterministic? I don't know.
You could do like a graphic. You could do like a graphic and be like, roll a dice. You know what I mean? I could see maybe.
Yeah.
I could see maybe.
Yeah. Maybe.
Anyways, let me... All right, you're 3 for 3 so far. The next question is a medium difficulty question. It is in the music category. Ooh. What common feature of DAWs, as we learned that's Digital Audio Workstation, allows you to adjust volume, panning, and effects over time? Is it A, mixer, B, autotune, C, MIDI, or D, playback controls?
So a mixer is something that can adjust a property. So that would usually be used for increasing or decreasing volume. Autotune is a plugin which changes pitch. MIDI it's a format for taking input and turning it into a sound. Playback control. It's not immediately obvious to me which one of these the answers is. Just volume panning and effects over time. I mean...
You do have power-ups.
Power-ups. Do I want to use a power-up for this? Let's use the Blade of Balance.
Okay, we'll use the Blade of Balance. I am in control of the timer here, so if it goes a little bit over, I'll give you a little, like 5 extra seconds maybe. We'll use the Blade of Balance. What the Blade of Balance does is reduces the number of answers by 2. So basically, it's going to eliminate 2 of the wrong answers. So it is not auto-tune. Don't worry about the timer. It is not auto-tune or playback controls. It is either mixer or MIDI. I'll give you another 10 Zachavelli seconds. I'll count in my head.
I don't need those. I'll go for a mixer.
Yan is locking in a mixer. Is it correct? It is. I actually wrote that question, Yan, and they used a really long, the reference I got it from, used a really long thing for, they were describing a mixer. So I was hoping maybe I didn't get that too wrong, but...
It's probably not wrong. It was just not immediately obvious to me.
Yeah. I think if I can add something for future episodes, maybe like a reference to where the question comes from, because I'll definitely misinterpret one and write a wrong question eventually. All right. Yen so far is 4 for 4. This is the last question of Group 1. It is a technical question. Let's get into it. Which of the following is not a typical feature provided by a game engine? Is it A, physics engine, B, word processing, C, lighting engine, or D, sound?
I mean, physics engine is fairly standard, so is lighting and sound. Word processing is where I'm leaning with this one. I mean... could be argued that there is some element of word processing in an engine, but I don't think you necessarily need it to qualify as a game engine, so I think I'm going to go with B, word processing.
You're locking in B, word processing. That is correct. Yeah, if you've ever tried to write like game text in Unity, okay, if you've ever played one of my games and seen like story written, you'll notice there are tons of typos and all sorts of things because it's just not good for writing it's not good for writing text. The little tiny fields and no spell check. That's the big thing that really hurts me. All right, that is the end of the first group. We'll move on here to group 2 in a second. These will be your questions that you will have. You've done pretty good so far. 5 for 5, used only 1 power-up. Before we get into the next group, though, Yan, do you want to talk a little bit about what brings you to the Game Dev Game Show and maybe your role? I think a lot of people will know you from the Game Dev Field Guide community. Maybe if you just want to go a little bit into your background.
Yeah, so, I mean, my background is fairly technical. I build websites for a living. I'm a full-stack developer. I generally prefer back-end development, so quite comfortable with coding and servers and that sort of thing. I came into game development just as something to do to keep me sane during COVID isolation.
Like many of us.
Yeah, I think that is quite common. I think actually I might have installed Unity a couple of years prior to try and get something running, but I think I might have even had something uploaded onto Twitch, not Twitch, Itch. Man, it took me a long time to understand to know the difference between Twitch and Itch. Things that are so different at such similar names. But yeah, I just was fascinated by the possibilities of video games. I don't know how I stumbled onto the Game Dev Field Guide, but I think I would have probably found the podcast on Spotify, listened to a few episodes, and then joined the Discord. That is probably how that happened.
I remember our first interaction, actually. You sent me a DM. You basically said, I'm going to make a bot for the Game Dev Field Guide. You basically were like politely saying, this could be organized a lot better with a bot. And you're like, I'm going to make one for you. And I was like, okay.
I can be quite obnoxious with that sort of thing, I think. Like, you're not doing this very well. I should be doing it. I think one of the best things that have come out of our relationship over the past few years is you have curbed my enthusiasm slightly, which is definitely a good thing.
I think someone said it best in our community. Yan is like a force of nature. He just kind of he sees something that needs to get fixed, and he just improves it.
Whether you want me to or not.
That's true. All right, let's move on to the second group of questions. So if you're unfamiliar, which probably everyone is, given this is the very first episode, Yan has picked 2 categories. He felt most comfortable with technical and music. As the game goes on, the questions do get harder, and you start to get some questions from different categories thrown in, ones that might not be your preferred category. For example, in Group 2, you can see we have a game design question. Now, Yan is no stranger to game design, purely by how much I've talked at him about it. But I'm curious to see where this goes when the questions start being out of his area of expertise. Are we ready for Group 2?
Let's go.
Let's do it. There we go. All right, Group 2. What is the name for the audio played as player feedback when selecting a unit or doing an ability?
Can you read the question again?
What is the name for the audio played as player feedback when selecting a unit or doing an ability? Is it A, bark, B, announcement, C, decree, or D, boast?
So I actually never heard this term before. Well, I guess we had some sound effects in a game, and people started calling them A barks. So I eventually learned this on. I didn't realize it was called a bark when we added them, but I think when you were playing the game with giving feedback or something, I realized, so that's what that's called. So I'm going to go with A bark.
A bark. You're locking it in. That is Correct. That's almost one part game design, one part audio. I think that'll be a reoccurring theme where questions kind of blend multiple categories together.
A bit just like culture slang as well, because that's the kind of thing that like gamers would have coined that term and then developers picked it up, potentially.
Definitely. All right, we'll move on to the next question, which is a technical question. It is easy, but we'll see how easy it actually is. What is a level 7 unit's attack power given the code unit.attack power equals unit.level times 10 in parentheses divided by 2, close the parentheses. Now, I did write this code, so if it's wrong, it's because I wrote the code.
This is hilarious. And it's like, I will preface this with, if I get this wrong, I need to give my degree back because I have actually got a maths degree. And this is less technical than it's just pure maths.
Math is technical.
Yeah, well. So I'm going to go with, okay, so unit level is 7, times 10 is 70, divided by 2 is 35. And I'm glad 35 is one of the options. So I'm going to go with D, 35, please.
D, 35 is Yan's answer. And that is correct.
Thank God for that.
Yeah, doing math live on stream is yeah. Math live on stream is impossible. All right, your first question that is not in your preferred categories is a game design question. Don't worry though, it's only easy difficulty.
I'm not worried. If I get it wrong, it's entirely your fault.
That may be true. What is the name of the game design piece that guides the moment-to-moment gameplay? Is it A, progression system, B, microtransactions, C, core game loop, or D, base building?
So, it's not a progression system. That is a long-term motivational system. Microtransactions, if you're playing some mobile games, I would imagine that it feels like microtransactions are the moment gameplay.
Good point.
Also, some games might have base building as part of its moment-to-moment gameplay. Probably not, though. So I'm going to go with C, core game loop.
You're going to lock in C, core game loop. That is correct. Yan, you haven't missed a question yet, but now we're getting into the medium difficulty questions, so we'll see if you can keep your hot streak alive. Question number 9, which of these is not a game engine? This is a callback to a previous question.
It's getting a bit repetitive now.
Don't
You've
worry.
run out of ideas already.
You already predicted the next thing. Anyways, A, Octane Render, B, Amazon Lumberyard, C, CryEngine, or D, GameMaker Studio?
Cool. If I had a better memory, I could probably even give you examples of games made with these different engines.
Oh man, now he's getting cocky.
I'm not going to attempt to, but they're all ones I've heard before. So yeah, I've heard of Lumberyard, I've heard of CryEngine, I've heard of GameMaker. The only one I've never heard of is Octane Render. So I'm going to go with A, Octane Render.
He's going to lock in A, Octane Render. That is a real thing. I did not make up Octane Render, but you're right. That is not a game engine. It is a rendering software. Sometimes used alongside it with game engines, like if you're going to make a cinematic or something like that. I was trying to trick Yan with some kind of, technically it is used in game development, but it is not a game engine. Okay, the last question of group number 2 is a music question. It is medium difficulty. Question number 10. Which effect is good for creating a soft echo in your game's sound effects? Is it A, wah-wah, B, pitch correction, C, reverb, or D, phaser?
Again, fairly straightforward, this one. Reverb is a type of echo effect, so I would lock that in. Wah wah is more of a Jimi Hendrix style effect. Pitch correction just shifts the pitch slightly. Phaser, how to best describe phaser? It's like a progressive modulation kind of on pitch as well. It kind of makes it go. Ooh.
All right,
that's a pew pew. Fair enough.
That's a good description. Yeah, every time I touch the phaser, it just sounds like a laser. I can't do anything. It just turns anything into a laser.
Well, I'm going to lock in C, reverb.
He's locking in C, reverb. That is correct. Yan is perfect so far.
Phrase I hear very frequently.
Yeah. This is the point of the show where we'll go to an intermission. Normally in a, like, going forward in the, episode 1, anything past episode 0 of just this test stream, we'll have maybe a sponsor or something like this. I'll give the guests some time to maybe go get some water. I'm going to get some water myself. But I do want to take this moment to catch up in chat. How are we feeling about the Game Dev Game Show so far? Don't worry, I know Yan is perfect right now, but things get a little bit harder, and then things get a lot a bit harder. So, yeah, does anyone have any thoughts so far about the Game Dev Game Show? I
Who's
see
going to lose?
Bomo says horrible, we're going to lose. How is chat's answers? You know, we've been going so fast. How has chat's answers been so far? Like, how does chat feel about, how they're doing? At the end, we'll reveal the score. And I know we've talked about, Yan is actually on the team that's helped building this. Yan and I have actually talked about maybe showing feedback to chat once they've answered. So, like, maybe a question thing could pop up in the chat and say, like, chat got it right or wrong or whatever, you know? It's surprisingly educational. That's good, Tootsie. Yeah, I'm happy to. I'm happy that it has been. That was kind of the whole goal of it. I like the art and the layout of the questions and categories. Brandon, actually, Computer, who is in chat, did the art. Oh, if you're a subscriber as well, I only had enough emote slots for subscribers, but we'll try and get some more in the free one. You can use the power-up emotes. Yeah, there should be power-up emotes, like the Blade of Balance and that stuff. Computer was the artist for those as well.
Nice.
There you go, Yan. Yep. All right, Yan. Are you ready to move on to the next?
Yeah, I'm good. Let's go.
All right, let's do it. Your questions do get harder from here on out, and they will start having more and more things that are not in your area of expertise. We're going to start out Group 3 with a technical question that isn't the easy thing. Just give you a little softball just to get some good momentum going into Group 3. Okay, question number 11. Which of these genres would Unreal Engine not be best suited for? A realistic FPS, B, a casual mobile game, C, a strategy simulation, or D, a space flight simulator?
I was hoping you were going to go 2D with one of these. But I think realistic FPS, that's right in Unreal's ballpark. Like, realistic texturing, that's really what it's good for. Strategy sim, probably also doable. Space flight sim probably works quite well. So casual mobile, that's probably what I'm leaning towards, purely because I imagine Unreal's export capabilities aren't quite as well developed as Unity. I feel like Unreal's more desktop focused than broad spectrum exports. So I might lock in casual mobile.
Casual mobile?
Or mobile.
Yan and I always go back and forth on how English words are pronounced.
I know English
Casual
words.
mobile is his answer.
What are you speaking?
Which is correct.
That makes me think of the Friends episode where Monica's friend has been in Britain for too long. She's like, call me on my mobile.
I almost DQ'd you for your pronunciation. I hope there's no questions with aluminum in it, because then I gotta hear
If you've
aluminium.
aluminum, then I will definitely pull you up on that.
All right. That is the first question of Group 3. We'll move on to the next question. I do want to take a moment.
Was I right, by the way, with that? I mean, you wrote these questions. Maybe we've got time for you to do a little bit of a one-liner like explanation at the end of each question. Like, is it the mobile exporting that is the problem with that one, or
yes, your path of reasoning was exactly my thoughts in writing the question. If you're gonna make mobile games, I mean, Unity is the best engine suited for it. I think you can do it with Unreal Engine, but you're just gonna create such a headache for yourself in the workflow that I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, I just thought that when we got the feedback that this was surprisingly educational, and I'm actually thinking like your thing is like just data dumping. So I think it makes sense that we can use these questions as like an education piece as well.
Yeah, I think our discussions will get a little bit longer when we start getting into the harder questions.
Cool.
All right, the next question is in the music category. It's another easy one, but the easy ones are going to start to disappear after this one, so make the most of it. The volume of music and sound effects in your DAW and game engine is typically measured in what units? A, loudness factor, LF. B, percent symbol. C, Curie, as in CI. Or D, decibel, as in dB.
I mean, volume generally is measured in decibels. Percentage would work for a mixer, where it gives you the amount of the amount of the source that is being put through through that down the chain. But I mean, I've seen LF before, or is it LUF? I've seen that in mastering, but I don't think it's I don't think a game engine would ever measure LF, and I've never heard of Curie before, so I'm gonna go with D, decibel.
Yan is locking in D, decibel, and that is correct. It took me a second to actually type that into the thing because Endocrine in chat made me laugh. Endocrine wrote, "It's only measured in Curie if it's really, really bad music." Curie is a measurement of, I think, like radioactive exposure.
Wow.
Okay.
We are.
Man, I keep doing that. All right, we're moving on in Group 3. Here's another question that is not in Yan's preferred category. It is in the art category, and it is a medium difficulty question. So we will see how this goes.
Can I phone a friend?
Oh, that's a power-up we need to add. You can phone chat with the HiveMind helmet, and maybe you'll want to use it.
Yeah.
For color tools, hue is generally referencing what? Is it A, intensity, B, base color, C, saturation, or D, lightness?
So this is one that I don't know. My gut feeling is that hue is something between like red and blue. There's like hue shift, which does change the color. I don't think it's saturation, because saturation is like color intensity. I'm gonna need to use a power up for this. Do I want to ask chat? What are the other ones?
Sorry, excuse me. Okay. You have the staff of scoring, which gives you double points for any question that you get right. You have the hand of hedging. It allows you to pick two things. Don't worry about the timer, by the way. I'll give you extra time.
Yeah. It's fine.
You have the spectral spectacles. It's a 30-second Google. And you have the Hive Mind helmet that starts a poll in chat. And chat answers the poll. Be careful with that one, though. They might try and mislead you.
I don't think that chat would be that mean, but I think this is one that
Roasted.
chat could help me answer. This, I think, possibly the two answers one, or this is the sort of thing that is Googleable, but I think Googling would be helpful for something else later. I definitely don't want to get double points. Let me pick two answers.
Okay, I'll pick the two answers. You do have to give one answer right away, and then I'll give you another, 15 seconds to pick your next answer after this one. So I do need an answer from you right now.
Cool, base color.
Okay, we will see if that is correct. And it was correct.
Oh!
Base color was the correct answer.
There we go.
Yep. I think you have to give a second one. Wait, how does this work? There we go. For my team, if you pick the hand of hedging and you get the answer actually right on your first guess, there's like a small glitch there. Just for Isopod, who's in chat, maybe. Okay. Well done, Yan.
Lucky.
That was the first one that I thought might trip you up.
Yeah.
Okay, so far you've remained perfect. Maybe I need to start making the questions harder. They get a little harder.
I did think that, it could have. I mean, I don't know how long this is going to go and what the skill ceiling is, but it possibly could have ramped up slightly faster.
Yeah, I think we can ramp it up faster next time.
I'm happy with the level of difficulty now.
Sure. Okay. The next question is a music question at the medium difficulty. Let's get started. What is a common technique for breaking up repetitive game sounds such as footsteps? Is it A, pitch randomization, B, key matching, C, complementary waves, or D, volume reduction?
Oh, could you imagine if it was volume reduction? That might be an interesting one to try, actually. If it helps at all, having the same sound effect repeatedly but with different volume levels. I think that might just be more annoying. Key matching, don't know what that is even. Complementary waves, that sounds like layering. But no, it is A, pitch randomization.
He's going with A, pitch randomization. That is correct. Yeah, that's an interesting thing, though, you said about volume reduction. Like, if you had footsteps and every one of them you just, like, randomize the volume as well, I don't know. I could see that as being a legitimate answer.
Yeah, I've definitely seen people when they do music production, if they have any kind of sound effects like drums or like finger clicking or something like that, what they often do is they will record like 6 or 7 different finger clicks, then duplicate the track and shift it so that different clicks overlay with the same one. So you end up repeating them throughout the song, but you layer them with different combinations. Because your brain really, really focuses on repetition. Like it really hones in on hearing this on repetition and patterns. And so you don't want your brain to focus on the finger clicking sound in a song. That's not the focus of it.
Right.
So by just any kind of slight randomization or layering or differentiation allows your brain to not focus on that and have it kind of fade more into the background.
Yeah.
So
we've all played those games where they use like only one sound effect for the gun or something like that. Yeah. And your mind just like, your mind just focuses on it. So that's a tip for anyone watching. It's really
Don't do that.
easy. It's
Don't do
really,
that.
really easy to just use. You can use one sound effect, just randomize the pitch, maybe the volume, maybe throw a little random effect on it. Really breaks it up. Okay.
Sure.
And for the last question in group number 3, you have your first hard question. It is in the game design category.
Bring on the helmet of hive mind.
Which is the perpendicular axis to the player's world axis according to Bartle's player types, also known as Bartle's taxonomy? Is it A, self and others, B, acting or interacting, C, PvP and PvE, or D, achievers and killers?
God, this is going to kill me. So, perpendicular access to player world, according to Bartle's player types. So, players... I can't remember that episode at all. I think achievers, killers is definitely in that. PvP versus PvE, that is just a generic distinction between two player styles. I don't think that's in Bartle's. Acting, interacting, they also kind of just seem like they're not really a gradient.
You do have 10 seconds to make a decision.
Yeah. Okay, let's go with achievers, killers.
You're locking in D, achievers, killers. That is incorrect. It is actually acting and interacting. This is the first one you got wrong, but this is a good moment to talk about it. Maybe I wish I could have. Okay, for the future, I wish I could pull up like a little picture or something like that. That'd be a good thing for the future. But essentially, achievers and killers.
Just pull in a clip from a previous podcast episode. Just like I explained this clip, and he's like,
yeah. Achievers and killers is part of the Bartle's player type, so that was the next best answer. But achievers and killers are part of the taxonomy. They're like categorizations. The axis goes from player's world, and then the other axis is acting to interacting. So, for example, a killer would be someone who is on the highest part of the axis of acting and the highest part of the axis on players. I can't remember. I think that's all the way top right of the graph that I'm thinking of.
Okay.
Achievers would be world and acting. There's other ones. I think the other two are explorers and socializers. So you can imagine like a socializer is someone who interacts with players, and that's on the interacting axis all the way on the players axis. It's a really interesting theory and a way to kind of categorize what people want out of games. Yeah, that was a pretty tricky one. I think the hard questions might be a step too high, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't think so. I think it's simultaneously tricky, but also foundational, really.
Yeah.
In the game design world.
That's true.
If you were working in any kind of indie studio and didn't understand Bartle's player types, that would probably be like unusual.
Yeah, that's fair. That does wrap up group number 3. Moving on to the final group. It's 3 medium questions, 2 hard questions. There's some that are definitely not in your area of expertise, including a miscellaneous question, which can be kind of hairy. It can be kind of anything. So,
Curveball.
Yeah, a good curveball. You have 3 power-ups left. You do have the Staff of Scoring. That'd be a good one to use on one that is...
I know the answer.
Yeah, like if you know the hard music question, that'd be a good one.
Is the point scoring consistent around all the difficulties as well? Or do you get more points for harder questions?
You get more points for harder questions. Yeah, you get about 4 times more for a hard question than an easy one, and I think twice as much for medium. I think it's 500 for medium, 250 for easy, and 1,000 for hard. We haven't... after episode 0, we might change some of those things around. So you might have a really unfair advantage in the all-time leaderboard, or permanent nerf. Maybe we can go back and readjust your score.
Maybe I just have to come back on the episode again.
Yeah, you'll just have to come back for a second episode. All right, these are the last 5 questions. Are you ready, Yan, for group number 4?
Let's go.
All right, let's do it. Question number 16. What tool is found in some game engines that allows the dev to identify performance issues? Is it A, debug tools, B, shaders, C, profiler, or D, runtime fees?
Cool. Can you start the question again? You cut out for a second there. I think my internet did something silly.
Yeah, so did mine.
I think we're good. Just can you read the question again?
I think you're good too. Okay, I'll read the question again. What tool is found in some game engines that allows the dev to identify performance issues? Is it A, debug tools, B, shaders, C, profiler, or D, runtime fees?
The runtime fees.
I guess runtime fees could be. The timer, the timer's locked in. I'll just give you I'll give you 30 seconds. Okay, I'm getting the camera back now.
Cool.
Apologies, guys, for the technical difficulties. You're way over your time limit, by the way, Yan. I hope you've thought about your answer.
C, profiler. Let's go. I'm glad that you mentioned performance issues in the question, because technically debug tools would be helpful for identifying general issues, maybe even performance issues.
That's true. Damn it. Now I'm having trouble getting Streamlabs isn't recognizing Discord. All right.
Lol.
We might finish this out with just can you send me a picture and I'll just put it up in lieu of your camera?
I love it. Yeah. Let's do it.
That's how I'll do it. All right. I know the suspense is killing chat. Yan already put in his answer. C, profiler. It is correct. I recently just used Unity's profiler to solve a huge performance issue in my game Mirror Throne. I was calling the start method find all objects 500 times, and every object was searching through all 500 objects. So that was an issue.
Go on. There's my face.
Got
It's
it.
all yours.
All right, we'll get Yen's camera back up momentarily. Have you ever caught a really bad issue with a profiler before, Yen?
I have not.
Do you use it much in your performance stuff, or?
So I have done performance profiling before for very, very niche performance issues, but like with work, maybe once in like 10 years. I know other people who use it more often. It is generally a good way of finding bottlenecks and finding performance issues, but the internet is just so good at, it doesn't make any difference unless you're doing like really, really high traffic stuff. Performance issues just don't really matter that much.
Yeah, I rarely have a issue where I need to do anything with it.
Normally, if you have a bottleneck that's that big, you end up with the software actually crashing before you need to go into a profiler. It'll just be like, infinite loop detected or something like that, and it's just you've written some bad code and it just goes, I'm not dealing with this. Just throws it out again. At which point it's pretty straightforward finding what you've done wrong. But yeah, no, not something I use very frequently.
All right, just getting this. There we go. All right, get ready to see Yen's face here. Oh, there it is.
Excellent. Well done.
All right, that's what we wanted, right?
Yep. Just my face the entire stream. For the...
Extremely high production values here. Here at the Game Dev Game Show. What other show? All right. I'll just size that. It's pretty big, but
You can scale it, right?
yeah.
This is like end up with just my teeth, teeth and frame.
Oh, that's funny. There we go. It's off center, but we're gonna deal with it. All right.
Yeah, good enough.
The show goes on. Okay.
Should send you a GIF.
All right. Next question. We are on to the 17th question. Yeah. This is in the business category, which is not in Yan's preferred categories, but I think he'll do all right with this. This is a medium difficulty question. Based on statistic demand, which of these genres would be hardest to market for a commercial Steam release? Is it A, horror, B, 4X, C, open world survival, or D, puzzle platformer?
Oh, I'm so glad you went with the extremes and not like the medium.
I know. It depends on the data. It depends on the data, right? I had to go with the extremes because I didn't know when's the last time you looked.
Yeah, oh, there you are. No, computer is definitely making sure that I keep reading the most recent Chris Zukowski articles.
Yep.
No, so horror always does incredibly well. 4X does well, but doesn't have a lot of competition. I mean, 4X should do well. I mean, there are probably some 4X games that don't do incredibly well. Not mentioning names. Open world survival. Actually, I wouldn't have known, but thankfully you threw in puzzle platformer, which just does absolutely terribly in the market. So I'm going to go with D, puzzle platformer.
D, puzzle platformer is Yan's answer, and that is correct. Yeah, puzzle platformers. I did kind of go with the extremes here. Horror, it feels like it's saturated, but for whatever reason, people just love to buy. You know what I think of? It's kind of like junk food, and I mean that with respect to horror devs. People just love 2-3 hour scary games. 4X, it's been popular on PC forever. There'll be 4X players, 100 years from now. Open world survival, I don't know. Open world survival to me is one that I'm kind of surprised it hasn't dived a little bit, But it's still around. And then, of course, puzzle platformer. There's a million of them. It's really hard to stand out. And, they just don't do that well for a commercial release. That doesn't mean you shouldn't make one if you really love the genre. Just if you're doing it for money, realize you're doing it on hard mode.
Indeed.
All right. Next question. This is a miscellaneous question that is medium difficulty. What game do most people point to when looking at where microtransactions started in mainstream games? Is it A, World of Warcraft, B, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, C, Tetris, or D, League of Legends?
So I'm fairly certain it's World of Warcraft. I don't think it's the Elder Scrolls. I definitely don't think it's Tetris. I've never played LoL, so I'm not a big League fan. I mean, do they even have microtransactions? I feel like they could have microtransactions. I'm not entirely sure what they would be.
You You do
I
have
mean, World
3
of Warcraft
questions
has-
left and 3 power-ups, by the way.
Yeah, I'm kind of debating whether or not I get the double pointer. I'm probably not going to be sure about any of these moving forward, but I'm fairly certain it's World of Warcraft, and I will use the double pointer on this one.
All right. Yen's going to use the Staff of Scoring, which makes the points earned from a correct answer doubled. And you're going to lock in World of Warcraft as your answer?
Yeah, it's been around for absolutely ages, and it's one of those games that's just really good at monetizing every aspect of itself.
All right.
I think it. Yeah, go on.
That is incorrect.
Oh, a disappointment.
That is incorrect. You know how I know Yan is not cheating? Okay, here's how we all know Yan is not cheating. Everybody in the chat was saying, I was reading, they were going, horse armor, horse armor. Do you remember the horse armor DLC from Oblivion, Yan?
Now that you mention it, yes, there is that.
Yeah, I think there was IGN articles written about it. At the time, it was
Yeah.
crazy. It was like, I can't remember. I think it was like $20 for literally just a 3D model of horse armor. World of Warcraft, though, I think was a good answer. You're right about World of Warcraft being excellent at monetizing every little thing. What is that story that...
I think World of Warcraft, I think I was remembering it wrong. I think they really dug into like season passes. That's like the thing that I remember from World of Warcraft. Again, it's just like, every expansion pack, every time, just finding little things to just make sure you keep paying those fees.
Yeah. What is that story that Pirate Software tells about like working on StarCraft and it didn't make as much money as the Rainbow Pony mount in World of Warcraft? You know about that one?
I think I know the one, yeah.
Yeah,
Literally,
yeah. He worked on StarCraft for like 2 years or something like that. I think they were making a DLC. I think it was Wings of Liberty. And then in like 1 month the Rainbow Pony mount in World of Warcraft made the same amount of money. And that's when the decision makers were like,
do we need more games?
Right. All right. We'll move on to a hard question in the music category. This is your preferred category, Yan, but it is going to be difficult. Are you ready?
Go on then.
What key is the Super Mario Bros. Theme in? Is it A, C major, B, C minor, C, F minor, or D, E major?
Are you actually expecting me to be pitch perfect? Oh man.
Well, I don't know. I could see a path. I could see a path of reasoning. I know you have some musical background, and I could see a path of reasoning.
Are we talking about the dit 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 dit? Well, it's not a minor key, so we can rule out minors. Definitely a major. Why would E major be in any way, shape, or form? I mean, I'm definitely going to use... I mean, this is a quick Google, right? Give me a 30-second Google.
I'll give you the 30-second Google. You saved it, right? But just for the record, you are on the... maybe after you answer this, Yan, I want to hear about why you knew it wasn't a minor.
Okay.
But yeah, your 30-second Google starts now. I'm timing you. Chat, does anyone in chat know why Yan didn't pick a minor? And before, chat's using the 30-second Google power up every question.
Okay, quick skim of the front page of Google's given me C major 3 times, so that's good enough for me. I'm going to go with C major.
He's locking in C
I might
major.
have gone with that anyway, just statistically, because why on earth would you write anything in E major if you could avoid it? E major is such a difficult key to work in.
Yeah.
It's not a minor key because it's a positive upbeat
Yes.
joyful theme tune, and that just was major keys are for. Minor keys are pensive, you know,
Right.
yeah,
Mysterious or like maybe even sad sometimes.
yeah.
I think, okay, let me just, oh, the timer's built in. Okay, that's pretty cool. Yes, it is C major. Yan, I just kind of want to reiterate that point you just made. The reason Yan knew right away that it wasn't minor is just, in general, I think it's good to learn a little bit of music theory. I mean, it is such an important thing in video games because it really sets the tone and mood. And so to just know the key is extremely important because, as we always say, games are about evoking emotion. And so having the music ready for evoking emotion is, I don't know, really important. And so knowing what the kind of different keys do, you don't have to know, I don't know. I don't know enough about music theory to even give you an example, but just know that major is usually upbeat and positive. Minor can be like mysterious or kind of sad a little bit. And then C, I think of C as like right in the middle. Do you think of that way? Yeah, and like when you said E major is so hard to work with, it's, for me, I agree with that. And you went down the exact path of reasoning that I thought I would when I wrote the question. For me, C is like the safe spot. It's like you start with C major, right? If you want to go positive.
I mean, C has basically got no accent notes. Is it accent notes? No sharps, no flats. It's just it's all white keys on the keyboard, so it's fairly simple to work with. It's the first key you learn about when you start playing an instrument. Probably, I mean, different instruments are probably suited to different keys. But yeah, it's just bog standard, the default. You could almost say it's the default key for most things.
Do you agree? Do you agree with the fact that like most people probably in-depth music theory is not too important unless you like really like music for your games, but knowing the basics is pretty important for the emotional part of game development?
I mean, like major minor stuff, definitely. Like whether you need to know the theory, you need to. It makes things easier when you are searching for a solution to your problem. Like if you can describe the thing that you want to try. Like if you can't play an instrument, for example, you will be looking for music. And if you're just looking through a bank of melodies and things like that, often what you would do is you would. I've been on. There's a website called Open Game Art where you can pick I want sound effects, I want art, I want tile sets, I want music, whatever. I want music themes, and then you can just go I want boss battle, I want seaside, I want village, I want pensive, I want you can just put words in, and then people have written 8-bit boss battle and things.
Yeah.
So knowing certain things, if you're looking for chip tunes or 8-bit music, knowing that that's what something's called, or if you're looking for orchestral, or if you're looking for, I don't know, rocky, knowing the buzzwords and what they mean helps you narrow down the things, the field that you're searching through. And then if you are hiring musicians, then it's really good to just kind of be able to find a common language for describing what you're after.
Definitely.
So it's either know the actual theory yourself so you can describe it, or have lots of references. That's what I'd say. Super Mario 64, the Penguin Slip and Slide theme tune, because I like this, and this about it.
Yeah.
Having references that you can listen to, share, and kind of experience, like that sort of stuff. That's helpful in these situations. But I think music theory is helpful for mastering an instrument or mastering composition. It's not. I don't think it's something that you'd need to go very far down if you want to be your Swiss Army knife game dev. I think there's lots of other things you need to do first.
Yeah. Definitely other things you need to do first. All right. We'll move on then to the last question. The last question is a business question, and it is a hard question. Are you ready, Yan, for the last question of the game? You could put up a pretty good score if you get it right.
Let's go.
All right. The last question. Estimate the profit of a commercial Steam game with 300 reviews. Assume the dev expenses and marketing were $10K and the game costs $9.99. Is it A, $200K, B, $55K, C, $100K, or D, $25K?
Well, throw on the hive mind because we might as well. It's the last question. I mean, this just sounds like a terrible idea. Okay, commercial Steam game with 300 reviews. So, what's the multiplier on that? Let's go with a multiplier of 40. Because we don't know what genre we're in. So 40 by 300. Let's go. That's 10,000 sales. The game costs $9.99. Am I taking off tax and Steam fees? Probably 30% for Steam, so that's $7 per game. 7 times 1,000 is $7. $7,000 profit. 70 profit. 10 down. I think I would go probably boilerplate 55K.
I'll give you, Yan, another. I don't know. I'll give you
we'll
another 30 seconds so we can let the results from the Hive Mind helmet come in.
So I think I'm leaning towards 55K.
Okay.
I mean,
can you maybe explain your method for converting reviews to total copies?
Yeah. So I can't remember what it's called. It's called something like boiler number or something. I can't remember the actual technical term for it. But there's essentially there's a magic number, and it varies year to year. It varies genre to genre, but it kind of lets you estimate how many sales a game is made, because roughly 1 in 50 people who plays a game will actually bother to leave a review. I think it's around 45-50 for these things. So you multiply that by the reviews, you get the sales. You multiply by the cost, you get the gross revenue. Steam gets 30%. You probably pay another 20% on taxes. So half the money that you earn, you get to keep as profit. I reckon 55 is probably a good number there. I think 300 reviews is not a huge amount. I think 100K is too high. That's how where I'm sitting with this. It could be 100. I just don't think so. So yeah, wait for the poll to come in, and we'll see if chat thinks drastically different from me. But
I'm looking at the poll now. We can say here. I'll just end the poll. It seems like most people are done voting. Chat did answer B. They agreed with you at B, but it was close. Some others might have thought D, and I did see A and C kind of. It looked like people were picking it, then switching their votes, maybe.
Hope you're not listening to my explanation.
Yeah, well, you were explaining, they were like, wait, and switching the votes. But yeah, it does seem like most people were going for B.
I would say 55, maybe slightly more. So I don't think D, and I just think A and C are a bit too high. So I'm gonna lock in B.
Yan is locking in B. Is B the correct answer? It is. Nice work, Yan. Question. Nice work, chat. You know, I was worried about this question because I was afraid of what number you were going to pick. I don't know what the name for the magic number is either, but for my calculation, I used 31. I figured you would use something between 25 and like 40.
Okay.
But yeah, originally I had the question.
Did you expect me to deduct taxes?
Yes, I did. I did figure in taxes, Steam's cut. And also, when I originally wrote this question, I had like 55, 65, 75. But I realized, wait, if you choose a different magic number than me, then it's not even really a fair question.
I think the categories were helpful for that. Maybe you could have gone like 105K or something a bit more.
Yeah.
Like,
inconspicuous.
specific rather than just like yeah. I think if you look at the numbers objectively, like you've got like three ranges and then one kind of specific question. So
Right.
you could have probably socially engineered the answer from this question just by looking at the options.
Definitely. All right, Yan. Well, that's going to do it for the game today. Let me
I'm
press.
happy with that score. Very happy.
Yeah.
You might need to tweak the difficulty slightly.
Yeah, I think I do. We'll talk about other things, guys. We're gonna do a little after show. I'm just telling my guest Yan about this right now. We're gonna do like a 15-minute after show, and we'll talk about it. Yan, if you can't make it, no worries. Are we
gonna jump in like Discord general, or do you want to do it on stream?
We can just do it on stream here.
Cool.
Anyways, your score, Yan, your final score, as if
I didn't know what it was.
you couldn't see it right there. We'll make it a little bit. Maybe we'll hide that next time.
Yeah, I think
Is 7,750. All-time leaderboard that puts
with
you.
those leading numbers, that means I've scored like what, less than 1% of my possible score.
Yeah, we got a lot of leading zeros on that one. Anyways, that puts you on the leaderboard. We will keep a leaderboard for all the future guests. But now the big question, did chat beat YanniBoi? What do we think? Did chat beat YanniBoi?
Not possible, right?
Well, let's see. Chat's score was 6,250. Seems like they got one or two questions.
Chat. Come on.
Wow.
And that's with horse armor.
Yeah, that's with the horse armor one. Yan beat chat. Look at that.
And I definitely didn't rig this by building the chat system myself.
Yeah. I'm looking in the code. Wait, Yan, why is there a minus 2,000 off the top for the chat score?
Yeah, the chat score is just equal to, 1,500 less than whatever I score.
Oh. Yeah. Let's do this. We'll also keep a leaderboard for the top chat scores. So, yeah, chat, you can do better next time and just keep climbing your own leaderboard. It does keep the episodes. So if you are on the all-time leaderboard, you can be like, I was there. Actually, you know what? You're number one in the world for chat scores right now. So nice. You were there. You were there when you set the record. And then I think we go straight to... This is my first time... Not my first time through it, but I didn't really practice the credit sequence. Anyways, guys, that is the Game Dev Game Show. I want to thank Yan for coming out and giving some time. I think it's a little bit late over where Yan is. And I know he's been really busy, but yeah, everyone thank Yan for coming on to the show. And more importantly, thank Yan for helping so much with the Game Dev Field Guide community. He really is a pillar of the community, as we described earlier, more like a force of nature. So yeah, can we get some green slimes in the chat for Yan? Yan, thanks for coming, man.
It was fun, mate. Cheers. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, it was fun. Also, I want to thank... the credits scrolled really, really fast, and I don't know if everyone saw that. But I do want to thank my entire team for putting together the Game Dev Game Show. If you didn't see in the Discord post about it, I hired people from our very talented community. First thing, I should probably thank the patrons. If you've ever wondered where your patron money goes for the Game Dev Field Guide, it went into this. So yeah, without the patrons, this kind of like higher effort, more produced content probably wouldn't be possible. So I want to thank them first and foremost. That includes the Twitch subscribers, by the way. Thank you. And then I want to talk about the people who actually worked on the stuff. I think a lot of people have already said that the art is great, and I tend to agree with them. The art was done by our art director, Computer, who is in chat. So yeah, green slimes for Computer. Remember, if you are a subscriber, you can use the power-up emotes. And we'll get some free ones. We'll get some free ones up there too. I just didn't have enough slots yet. Also want to give a big shout out to our technical director, the person who wrote all the code and made sure all of this works, Isopod. It has been awesome to work with him, and we were working together like to the last second. Like, Yan, when I sent you the message we should do the audio chat, we had just like fixed some things with the game. So
Nice.
yeah, it came right down to the wire. But yeah, big thanks to Isopod. And we've also been listening to some really good music. The theme was written by Mugamumu, who you might know from the Game Dev Field Guide, was a guest a long time ago, and also wrote the outro remix for the Game Dev Field Guide. Mugamumu wrote this really chill track that's going on right now, wrote the theme, wrote the question music. I thought the music was really good. I hope the audio balance was enough to you guys could really hear it. I'm going to go back and check all that stuff. And lastly, well, second to last, I guess, we do have to thank Yan again for he wrote the Twitch integration stuff. The ability for him to beat you in chat. He wrote all that stuff. And I also want to give a shout out to Drake Dude, who helped me come up with this project prototype, and he was around there 2 years ago. We started this project, and him and I were just kind of putting together ideas all the way back then. So to see it all come together for episode 0 today was really cool. All right, everyone. Have a good night, and see you tomorrow. Bye.